know, we've listened to a lot of fine addresses today, and we've participated in discussions and meditations on our theme, The Road Ahead from Ecumenism to Interfaith. So as we come to the end of this stimulating day, we need, I believe, to turn our minds, if we haven't done so already, to where we go from here. When I first heard of our theme, I pondered carefully on its meaning. Did it mean, for example, that ecumenism has finished its course? It has not been an easy path over the past 80 years or so for churches to be open with each other, not to mention actually doing things together. A lot of progress has been made during that time. Churches have not only come together, but they have entered into agreements and covenants that have strengthened the commitment to speak and act with a united voice. The task, though, is not complete. There is still much to be achieved. Receptive ecumenism, for example, is allowing churches and individual church members to listen to each other with integrity so that a conversation, rather than a dialogue, begins to take shape. In the process, everyone involved enters the conversation armed with a greater knowledge of themselves, their beliefs, and their practices. This makes the conversation more meaningful as we offer gifts to each other that we can use in our own lives. What was once seen as the preserve of theological professionals and church leaders has been increased to include all church members. It acknowledges too a lot of grassroots activity at the congregation and family levels that have been going on for some time. Listening with integrity and engaging in a meaningful conversation are also at the heart of interfaith endeavours, and today is ample proof of this process. Many of us have been meeting together in similar forums for some time, so our conversation deepens with each encounter. Again, we bring to the table gifts to offer each other that can be unwrapped and used as we decide and as we see fit. The challenge for us as we leave today is to do something with what we have gleaned from our conversations. I'm conscious that there are many within our own particular faiths and backgrounds who have great difficulty with what we are doing. They are suspicious of any form of conversation with anyone from a different faith or background. I might add that this suspicion has been felt within the ecumenical movement. The wider community also has its suspicions when it comes to different faiths and backgrounds coming together to discuss topics of mutual interest. Some see it as a great step forward, while others worry that it is part of some nefarious plot to change society as they know and understand it. While they may be correct in that regard, they neglect to realise that society and communities in particular are always changing. What we're doing now would not have been thought of 30 or 40 years ago in Toowoomba. I can say that with great confidence. And I was only reflecting on this yesterday with a group of Anglican theological students as I ended up doing, in similar circumstances to Drish, an impromptu hour-and-a-half session. What shall I do? Interfaith relations. Okay, we'll do that. But it was an engaging conversation because I believe that that's where their ministry will lie. It didn't when I was ordained. So we've changed a lot in 30 or 40 years. Our main aim, as we've often said, is to continue the creation of a community of peace and harmony. This is an ongoing process that depends on the strengthening of relationships and the continuance of conversations. It keeps our relations with each other strong and healthy. Individually, we also need to have peace and harmony within ourselves. So, as has been quite emphasised quite a lot today, and particularly this afternoon, we work on two fronts. We work with others, and we work with ourselves. So our road from ecumenism to interfaith takes a slightly different route. It does not mean from one to the other, but may mean, and I hope that it does, that, for example, ecumenism can learn and continue to grow from contact and conversations with other faiths and other backgrounds, and vice versa. By saying this, I mean that we all have something to offer each other. And the meditation session that we experienced today is an example of what I've been talking about. It also has to be acknowledged that we've been travelling on the road for some time. We've achieved a lot over that period. We believe that progress towards building a community of peace and harmony is moving along. It is not stagnating or failing. We recognise, though, that there is still a way to go, and the only way to travel is to do it together. Another thought I would raise relates to the mode of transport we use as we travel this road from ecumenism to interfaith. A couple of years ago, I upset my travel agent after a visit I did to New York. She asked if I had seen the various major tourist sites that abound in such a large and vibrant city. I explained that while I had seen some sights, I intentionally did not see everything. I also said that I had not used the subway. That provoked an interesting response to the effect that if I had used the subway, I would have covered a lot more territory. I then explained that I had made a conscious decision to walk rather than ride. I walked from my hotel to Central Park. I walked around Central Park and almost got involved in a marathon that was happening at Central Park at that moment. I wasn't dressed for running, I must admit. Then I made my way from Central Park to Times Square, and on the way I couldn't resist taking a photo of Trump Towers. I thought you'd like that. From Times Square I went on to other places, and then finally walked along Broadway back to my hotel. I saw a lot that day. My legs told me not to do it again, and not in the not too distant future, but I got there. But I would have missed many things of interest had I taken the subway. As we walk and converse together, or do we walk, or do we want to take a faster means of transport? Sometimes we think that our progress is slow, and we aren't achieving much in forums such as this one. Yet by walking, we're not rushing what is, I believe, a very important task. Peace and harmony are very precious, and as we look at the world today, very scarce as well. We are laying foundations that will take some time to fully complete. The work we do now will, we hope, be continued and grown. So while we will keep working, others will join us and then carry on for the next stage of the journey. What we're doing has its complexities. Often we'd like to resolve a complex situation with a simple solution. This, as history has well shown, does not work very well, if at all. Walking rather than running or travelling faster allows us to work through the complex twists and turns as we converse and get to know each other more deeply. We come bearing gifts and hospitality to both ecumenism, interfaith, and other background activities. How we use what we receive is entirely up to us. There is no rush, but we do have to use the gifts, I believe, wisely and well. This, to me, is what the journey is about. Knowing each other, knowing ourselves, and putting our trust in what we have learned and understood as people of faith and backgrounds living together and building a community of peace and harmony. And so the day concludes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank Reverend Canon Richard Tutin for his time in sort of moderating and also the MC for this program this afternoon, to Reverend. Well, I'm just going to do a short closing, and I'm not going to take more than 2 minutes of your time, because I think, thank you so much, the words to say, really can't express the thanks to many of you, to many of the friends that we have here. And it's wonderful to see groups from Brisbane, led by John, bringing it here. Thank you very much, John. And also Fiore, all the way from Warwick. She brought with her some 9 good friends around, and all our speakers, and all the others who have been with us. And also special thanks to Mr. and Mrs. Smiley. Now, there's only one thing that I want to end. All I ask of you is take this beauty of your heart that you have to be an example of human being than human wanting. Thank you very much.